Last time on The Lion and His Mane.
Euthanasia, not the youth in Asia, as is
I had a
misspelt by some
friend-
people. My friend injected 1 marijuanas and then he died.
You can buy a literal boatload of vodka, but we don't assume that you're going to go home and just drink it all, because guess what? You will die.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Lackadaisical Leo and Slaine the buff oyster.
Right, first things first, I have a couple of thoughts. So one,
When you say just before, this is the classic. Most Kiwi men have their best thoughts where?
in the throne.
Oh, on the throne.
On the throne, sorry. Not in the throne.
so
There's a
when
problem
you-
if I'm in it.
What you can't see is when Slaine said just before, he looked
At the
at
wharepaku.
toilet at the wharepaku.
Yeah, I did. What's in my thought, bro?
I
My
love it.
thought.
Not holding it against you. I'm just saying, transparency.
So I'm going in there and, nature's calling. So I'm like, right, I will pick the most suitable cubicle. Okay, so I walk along and I look in the first one, it looks okay. But before I use the third one, so I want to check that. And it's always an immediate warning sign if the bloody lid's down.
Oh, yeah.
There's been a bomb.
Somebody's hiding.
So I looked
hiding
at
their shame.
2 and 3 lids down. Okay, so there are no go. I'm not doing it. I'm not lifting. I'm not opening Pandora's box. If you, I'm not doing that. So I walk along further. And now the end, number 4 was taken. Someone was in there. They beat me to it.
You're just in for a number 2. How did you get all the way up to number 4?
Oh, there's a lot of cubicles. Good selection
You're
here.
like Goldilocks looking for a bed
Yeah, well, I very much am. Yeah.
to do
So-
a growling bear.
Oh, yeah.
Drop a growler.
I get to number 5, and there's a fan up there, on the wall. And I immediately thought, quote my mind on this, I ain't dealing with no poo air coming at me. And then so
I know which one you're at, and I think to myself, a fan. That's exactly what I need.
I need poo particles all over me. That's exactly what I'm after
I
at this
thought it was
stage.
going the other way.
So anyway, I go back to number 1, the first cubicle, and that's fine. I'm in there. And I'm thinking about this more. Now, I once heard from a germaphobe friend of mine, the hand dryers in toilets, they spray poo particles everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I thought about the fan. I don't need poo particles in my life at this time of day, So I actually Googled this, and it is 100% accurate. They suck up fecal particles.
Yeah.
They spit out poo particles in your hands. I just washed them. Now they're dirty again. But most people don't know that, and they just happily continue and eat their Subway.
You need the Subway. Specifically Subway.
Yeah, you got a poo sandwich, bro. Straight up poo sandwich.
Yeah, but those hand dryers are so cool, though. Aren't
They are.
I don't know. They just feel really efficient. I feel like if I was on a spaceship, this is how I'm drying my hands.
I was about to say that a Dyson blade would not look out of place on the SS Enterprise.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
Is it, I think that's what it's called out of Star Trek.
Go on, think about those poo particles. How do they escape? Or is there like a little storage tank that during the aircon process it just holds all the
Do you
poo
think there's just like a little butthole type porthole in the spaceship and it opens like a little airlock? There's literally everything in space, Morty.
What was that? The ship farting. No, I think they live in it. I think they
man.
live in it, floating around them.
They're like, yeah, we got a 3-year trip to Alpha Centauri coming
They
up.
knew what they were in for.
Yeah.
And to be honest, even if they don't, too late.
My God, who brought hot food aboard the SS Enterprise again?
yeah. Who brought the Vindaloo?
That's exactly it.
We
bro.
loved you at the time, but now we are all deeply regretting it.
Oh, yeah. Right, so today we're going to be yakking about get to know us, right?
This is the thing, right? So if you've tuned in just now and you're thinking, who are these guys? Well, this is our 4th episode. So you can go back and have a listen to some of the brilliant, to be honest, philosophical insights and enlightenment trip that we've created.
Endowment
in
trip.
the past about endowment sliders. So we've done a long chat, but you guys don't know who we are.
Valid point.
And so I thought, why don't we find out who Slaine is?
Wow. Ask away, friend.
He's got Slaine as a name, but what else is going on in that tiny little brain? Deep crevice brain.
When he talks, it causes me pain.
Why do I keep getting on my show again? Slaine Marshall.
Yo.
We've got the name, Slaine the main Marshall, Slaine the buff oyster, because you're from Bluff originally. But you've got a bit of a twang to you. So let's get to know you. Who is
All
Slaine
right.
Marshall? Where have you come from? Where did you go?
All right, well, let me start. I grew up in the deepest of the South, Bluff, known for oysters, hence the Buff Oyster name.
What else is Bluff known for?
STDs.
Okay. Are they coming from the oysters as well? Because there was that whole gonorrhea oyster thing, wasn't
STD.
there?
It could be a shuck. That's what it's called when you open an oyster. You shuck them.
Shuck them.
Shuck transmitted disease could be. Got the clap from an oyster. No, I don't think that's the thing. So to explain it, the Bluff oyster thing, I grew up in Bluff. I was a little round boy. I was a chode boy. I was about as round as I was tall.
You get picked on for that kind of stuff. I mean, it's a bit weird, eh?
Isn't it funny? They pick on people for you eat more food than I do.
You have an abundance of food.
My mum's a great cook. Leave me alone.
Your mum makes good meals. Shame.
Well, anyway, look, lived in Bluff till I was about 17 or 18. Moved to Invercargill, the big smoke up the road with a grand total of 45,000 people. Did fix cars for a while. Then
You're a bit of a handy man.
I've been described as such.
Yeah.
Fixed cars for a while, welding, I'm a brake technician, I'm making an exhaust, did a lot of that sort of stuff. And then I thought, bugger this, I'm sick of burning myself and wrecking my body, setting it on fire constantly. Because you're under a hoist welding, so it drips on you. It looks like molten lava just dripping on you. I was a MIG welder, so that's where you have the little gun, and so you clip what's called the earth, or the negative, onto the metal object you wish to weld. Yeah, it's like a little alligator clamp, if you will. And then you have a gun that feeds wire called a spool, which is inside the welder. It's just a big thing of wire. Upon pulling the trigger and the wire touching the surface that is connected to the earth, shorts out, it heats the metal and feeds the wire in at the same time. So essentially, it melts. The metal is melted and new wire is fed in at the same time.
Far out technology, eh? That's pretty
it's pretty cool, bro. Yeah.
But it burns you, especially if you're doing it above your head.
That's the point. So after that, I thought, bugger this. I'll go be an accountant because I'm good at maths.
Okay, because I mean, there's a bit of a, so I'm welding, and then I'm thinking, I'm getting burnt too much. You know what? I'll be an accountant.
Yeah, my boss laughed at me. He said, "You're a workshop guy. You're not going into an office."
Yeah.
And I said, "Is that right?" I still keep in contact with them. Shout out to the boys down Magoo's. Jeff, you're a ledge. Scotty, you're all right. I hope you're making better coffees these days. Nick, be quiet and do your work. Anyway, so I go and do this, and it's magic. I was accountant for a couple of years. That's cool. Went over to Aussie chasing big money.
To be an accountant over in Oz?
Over in Brisbane.
Yeah.
And that's when my twang started.
Yeah,
and my first
you do have a
Australian
twang,
word,
yeah.
My first Australian word, I was hanging out with a few of the boys I've met over there, and my first ever experience, I remember it vividly, dancing.
Dancing?
I said dancing.
Oh, yeah, dance.
We were knee deep into a whole lot of good stuff at the time, but and we're having a little party.
Dancing.
We're going dancing. All right, thanks,
we're going dancing.
And I said it, and I just about fainted. I thought, what have I done?
Yeah, what have I done? I need to get home.
Committed an atrocity against the All Blacks.
There's got to be a bit of that. You moved over there. It's your own fault. You did it to yourself.
And to continue on, I couldn't find much work up there. Ended up moving to Sydney.
Because they say there's heaps of work in Australia, right? And well-paying.
There's loads of it. There is absolutely loads of it. But I was looking at an accounting field, and it was really hard to get work there because there's like 400 or 500 people applying for one position.
Oh, geez.
It's ridiculous, man. And like C's and B's get degrees, baby. People hiring don't take into account your other skills. They only look at those marks generally because a lot of it is run by the older generation who thinks that way.
Well, they're accountants. They're looking at paper all day, so they just read you as paper. They look at your paper version and not your actual version.
That's exactly it.
See, my paper person looks trash. Like, honestly, put them in the paper waste basket, as the Americans would say.
Yeah.
So they know which basket it
Mate,
is.
I feel that. Anyway, I fell into construction accidentally. A few white lies were told to get me in, but it worked a treat. Then
That should have been an easy transition, though, right? From welding.
It was, it was good. It's essentially you can measure and cut a pipe, you can measure and cut a piece of concrete.
Yeah, and you've got accounting, so you know how to measure twice.
Yes.
Numbers.
That didn't prevent a lot of incorrect cuts, and sometimes I'd send a piece of Hebel. It's like sort of a concrete product you put on the outside of your house.
Yeah.
I'd send it up to the boys on the scaff. There's your thing you ordered, mate. He'd draw these little diagrams of, say, like it's a shape of perhaps like a capital L. He'd draw it on a piece of wood, and he'd throw the wood down to me, often near hitting me. Hey, bro, here's it. Oh, snap. You'd hand it up to him, and he'd just lose the plot, man, if he'd got it wrong. And he'd throw it off the scaff, man.
Holy moly. What point did you turn into the Buff oyster? Was that down in Bluff, or was it...
Well, I guess I started to in Invercargill. Actually, until I went to a school social and got a kiss. Yeah, bro. And I was like, hey, this is all right.
Yeah. So I could do a bit more of this, maybe.
Yeah, that's it. And I thought,
and the Sheila went, not until you get in that gym.
Not until you size down that hoodie, friend.
Yeah, only if you can carry me home. And you're like,
do not judge my Planet 8 hoodie, lady. Remember those from the warehouse? Planet 8 hoodies?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Nothing wrong with it.
Training a bit afterwards, and then it varied a lot for a long time.
And I mean, it helps in construction, though, once you get to that point. I mean,
yeah.
I'm imagining you were kind of buff before when you're an accountant. You would have been that buff accountant guy, right?
A little bit.
Yeah, but as soon as you get into construction or anything like that,
It's
you've just
physical
so
work.
much more
Yeah.
weight that you take on. Literally weight.
Yeah.
More often throughout the day.
It is very good for keeping fit and that sort of thing. But the downside of that is construction's heavy, and one wrong move and you will cook your back.
Yeah.
You absolutely will. And I've got a lot of friends who have. There's 35, something things like that, and their back's going, hey, buddy, I'm not into this any longer.
Well, so you're kind of running the risk every day, aren't you? I mean, the more weight you're taking on, you're just running that risk. It was like when I had a motorbike. I rode on the motorway to work and back again. And all I could think was that there is a percentage that I will crash on the motorway. And so every time I get on, I'm growing that percentage. I talk to people, they go, I've never crashed. And in my head, I think, seems like it's percentage-wise, it's kind of about time.
Yeah.
I have crashed twice on the motorway.
yes.
So put that out there.
That must be scary crashing on the motorway. Because there's a lot of cars travelling at decent speed.
Well, to be honest, it's not the first thing on your mind isn't that a car's going to run you over. It's kind of...
Can I walk?
It happens so quickly that you're kind of going, whoa, and then you're sliding. And then you're like, whoa, like it's a lot of woes, you know? And then you're kind of lying there and thinking, oh God, I feel really uncomfortable. Like for me, I had like my foot was under me.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, that's in a weird position. Oh, how do I get that out? And I couldn't quite get it out. I had my backpack on and you got your gear and your jacket and you're not supposed to take your helmet off for ages. And so you're kind of like, it's a very awkward thing until people were kind of looming over me. And I said, can you get my foot out from under me, mate? Oh, we shouldn't move yet. And I'm like, oh, go on. Like if it's broken, I don't want to be sitting on it. Like it just feels really weird. I'm not in a very cool, chilled out position lying here on the road.
Thank Cthulhu you wear so much denim.
I thank him every day. Well, actually, I wasn't wearing my denim jeans. Well, no, I was wearing denim jeans. I wasn't wearing my motorbike Kevlar denim jeans.
You certainly weren't wearing shorts because I don't think you own any.
They got shredded. Oh, yeah, no.
Do you own shorts?
Yep.
Are they?
I had to think about it. Yeah, I'm like, do togs count as shorts? And then I'm
kind
like,
of.
well, I do have togs that were jeans that I cut into shorts. No, I do have shorts.
True.
Because it's just getting too hot, man.
Yeah.
But I don't. You ain't seeing me wearing them down the street. Oh, goodness no. Because if you do, you'll just see two blinding rods. I wear them at home when I'm hot and I'm sitting on the couch and I go, no, it's shorts time, which means I'm not leaving the house time.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Anyway, let's not talk about me. We'll get back to you.
Sorry, bub, yeah. Started training a bit. You sort of kept it up over a few years, but it's always up and down, up and down. Like you go for a while and then you stop for a while, go for a while, stop for a while. You know, and the party life doesn't help that because you run out of motivation very quickly when you've got a beer in your hand.
It's not just the beer in the hand, isn't it? It's the days afterwards as well. Like the human body, for instance, has a certain amount of chemicals that makes it happy loaded up in its brain. And then when you go out and you party, you pretty much just dump all of that happy juice into yourself and you're like, woo, yeah, party, I'm going to dance. But that means the next day...
You've taken tomorrow's happiness and you've used it today.
Exactly.
You've ticked it up. It's credit card.
You feel completely unmotivated.
Credit card style happiness.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I should be continuing. So then I was over in Australia. I fell into construction, as I said, and that was fine. And then we ended up taking on a few of our own contracts, which that was cool, but we just couldn't keep up with the bigger firms. Like we didn't have the capital to keep up with the big firms.
So you were kind of running your own construction thing. You were part of the partnership.
Me and my mate Wayne were, yeah.
Well, okay.
And we had a couple of boys working for us. It was all right. Like it was going pretty well, but it was a short-term thing. You know?
And from that... From doing construction, you went to...
I went to more construction. I started contracting to a builder.
You just kept doing construction?
Yeah, because I got sick of trying to secure these contracts and constantly negotiating and constantly having to wait to be paid. And like small business woes. If anyone out there is listening and they're in small business, they'll completely understand that.
Yeah. It's the struggle. You've got to... I mean, you just got to keep on trucking, basically. Yeah. Isn't it? It gets better.
And honestly, man, as a young dude making good money in a place like that, you blow through it.
Yeah,
Lord, do you blow through it.
Oh, yeah, because you kind of celebrate a bit too, don't you?
Oh, you really do. And like the weather's always good there. Yeah,
so, I mean, but I'm trying to draw a line now from you. For those of you who don't know, Slaine and I are at radio training school. It's the reason that this podcast was even thought to be created in the first place. And this will be marked. And if you want to mark it, go on.
Yeah, give us a good mark, Martin. Go on.
But, give us a good one. Shout outs to all the teachers for being so handsome and great at marking.
Oh, yeah.
Just having really just good decisions that we'll all agree with, no doubt. But how did you transition? How did you get from construction, radio?
Okay, that's actually a very good question. So I was in a pretty cushy position, contracting to this builder, making pretty good money in Sydney, living a good life. Mrs. was having a bit of a hard time at work, so we we got married up to before this point, and we saved like 15 grand moving from Australia to New Zealand on visa costs because
Oh, wow.
very expensive over there in the position she was in.
Yeah. Because she's from Sardinia in Italy.
Yeah, island in the Mediterranean there.
Yeah, Mediterranean.
And so I always loved the radio, man. I grew up listening to the rock. I still listen to the rock. I met all the boys at the rock.
Were you listening to The Rock when you were in Australia?
Oh, 100%.
How cool was that?
But the U-Dog bought came with like an alright Bluetooth stereo. Yeah, man. And I would listen to Rog, Bryson, Miles and Jane.
Yo, shout out to the boys.
Yeah, every day, bro. Every day.
Yeah.
And
Good company in the morning when you haven't had your coffee yet.
Absolutely. good company after a coffee even. You know? Yeah. Sometimes I even listen to them on the throne.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Where all your great ideas come from.
Well, it is. Yeah, the old ones are excreted and the new ones have a spot to come in, you know?
Yeah.
But anyway, so I thought there's a couple of things if I am going to stop changing industries, because I was getting sick of changing industries and starting again at the bottom. You know, while it is great fun, great experience learning things, and it does, I think it makes you a more sort of complete person having a wide range of skills. It is a pain constantly taking the pay cut and things like that, and then you've got to build back up and be the boy for a while.
Because you're going into a new industry, you have to prove yourself, even if you've got the skills.
I essentially said to myself, I want to do one thing for the rest of my days. Okay, in order to decide what that is, one, it had to be fun. Two, it had to offer a good incentive of I was good at it.
Yeah.
3, I like talking more than I like working.
Yeah, I mean, look, radio doesn't pay great. You know, a lot of people aim for a career that will inevitably get them the big bucks. Radio's only kind of like that for the boys, you know, doing the breakfast shows and things like that, and then there's offshoots. So then you know, once you're known as a radio DJ or whatever you're doing there, is that you kind of then start doing voice ads, or you're then emceeing things, and you know, it's transitional into all these different realms. But to say to yourself, I'm going to pick a career for the rest of my life, this is what I'm going to do. Should you be aiming for something that's going to get you big cash in the long run, or should it be something you're going to be waking up in the morning and going, "Yeah, I'm off to work."
Well, that's also a very good point, and this is possibly the first time I've ever thought of like a job type thing or a career, and I've put the lifestyle and the happiness first.
Yeah.
I'm super glad I did it too.
Oh, cool, man.
Before that, I was just money. And sure, I was making it, but man, it's hard work when you get up and you don't want to go to work.
No, it's really hard.
You know, and I haven't experienced that here. Look, even with the New Zealand Radio Training School, I'm excited to jump out of bed and come here. And I'm excited to sit in the studio. I'm excited to do a podcast here. I'm excited to cut it up and edit it. I love all this, man.
See, that's it, man. That's the trick to it, eh?
I've channeled my creativity that I had no idea that existed before. Turned it from just shitty yarns into something I can actually perhaps pursue. You know?
It's actually absolutely fascinating that you had a switch go off in your mind.
It's exactly what it was.
You know, that just kind of said, you know what, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to go be a student. You're going to be back in New Zealand, and you're just going to aim at one goal and just stick to that the whole way through. And I know a lot of people who have jumped into radio training school aren't quite as directly focused at their end goal as you are, but you're looking forever. You know, some people are looking 5 years, and I hate the 5 year, you know, what are you doing in 5 years
the
question.
5-year plan.
That's not how my brain works.
No.
My brain says, well, I don't know, there's lots of lightning and buses out there. I can't give you a 5 years, definitely. Some of them, you know, just get hit by something. Like, I don't know, maybe I've only got 3 months left and I don't know that. That's just
exactly
how I tick around. But to think, you know, instead of looking at a 5 year goal, you've just gone, I'm going to do this until, you know, I lie on my deathbed with no regrets.
And that's exactly it, mate. And to draw in like a little bit of inspiration, I listen, well, I don't so much these days, but I was listening to a lot of podcasts and interviews with a lot of successful people. And the main thing they all have in common, like from Dr. Dre, like Eminem, that Jimmy Iovine, all those big wigs in that world who have done incredibly well. I mean, that is 3 examples, but
Yeah.
the thing is this, they didn't give up. You will eventually, you will do what you set out to do. It will happen, but you just have to be unwavering in your pursuit of that.
I agree with you, but also I do think that there's a lot of right place, right time stuff. I've got a bit of a background in acting and stuff like that, and that is an entirely fickle industry. Who was it? One of my favourite actors, who I always forget the name of. Kiwi bloke who was in The Omen and Jurassic Park. Sam Neill, right. He's such a great person. He says, you know, about 10% of actors are talented, can actually do it, can act. And then about 1% of that 10% will be lucky enough to make a career out of it. It is such a small percentage, but that means 99% of talented actors, not just the ones going to the auditions, but people who are good actors, will live their lives without having it as a full career. They will have real life jobs, as they're called. And every now and again they'll do a little bit of acting here and they'll do a little bit of acting there. I think radio is one of those things, like, especially when you do the radio training school, we're not bringing people in and saying, you're going to be a DJ, jump on the microphone. That's what you're learning. We're in here writing the news, we're learning how to read news, we're learning how to do journalism, how to do your research. We're learning about te ao Māori and what that means to broadcasting, the laws around broadcasting, how to produce. We're learning how to direct by getting people to do voices as we're creating our own ads, as we're writing out our own proposals, as we, all of this stuff. It's a huge amount of everything to do with radio. And therefore you will have a job in radio. You might not always be the voice, but you will always have a job around what you love doing. You've just said before, you love getting in there and cutting things up and producing things and coming in every day. And there'll always be something new, I think.
It blows my mind. I literally enjoy every single activity in this building.
Yeah, it's good. That's good, eh?
Aside from the poo fan in the toilets.
That's not one of the activities that was on the curriculum.
I'm not a fan of that bloody fan.
You're not a fan of the fan.
Yeah. But yeah, that's...
Because that's your only fan.
It is.
Oh,
it is the only fan.
No, I'm a fan.
Actually,
but
I
I'm
sit
also
beside
spitting
a fan.
shit as well. So we say that.
I sit beside a fan in class. The aircon.
Oh yeah, right.
Aims directly at me.
So I thought you were sitting next to me. So I was like, yep, that's true. I thought we just went over this.
But in regards to future, like I'm trying with MediaWorks. I did promotions trial with them and I blew that out of the water. They offered me a casual contract, which is great. But then obviously COVID hits, which is throwing a spanner in the works. But I am currently trying to get a hold of them and, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and just keep at it. I mean, that's the thing. You keep at it, they hear the name, they know the name. Eventually, I mean, the way people hire is they don't often go for the new guy off the street. But once you become that name, the new guy whose name is in their head, they'll kind of go through the list of everyone internally, people they actually know face to face, and then there'll be that, well, what about, guy Slaine that we've heard a lot about, who's always rapping on the door and trying to get his foot in.
That's exactly it, man.
Yeah.
And
your name will start popping up.
I think I remember... it must have been Bryce Casey, from the Morning Rumble. I remember he is the man. He won Broadcast of the Year and he deserves it. He's brilliant.
He was already one of my favourite before that.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a real hipster comment.
Yeah, it is.
I thought Bryce was cool before everyone else acknowledged it.
Yeah. Yeah. But I remember hearing him talking about it one day and how he was... he just kept rapping on the door, essentially. Just keep showing up like, hey. Look, give him a shot. Get him to do something.
It's pretty hard to do that, though, isn't it? Because you kind of...
It's getting harder and harder.
It whittles away at you when you get the no all the time.
Yeah, I'm pretty stubborn in that respect, so it doesn't bother me. Like,
it doesn't really bother me because I do auditions. And, you go to auditions all the time and you come out and you're like, I nailed that.
And you got a face for radio, bro. You've been talking. I'm sorry.
We'll get into why I got into radio later.
Yeah. Next episode. But yeah, man, I just want to keep pressing forward with it. I will come back and listen to this one day when I have made something of myself.
Oh, how cool.
And we'll have a listen, bro. Like you and I, because you'll do it as well. I don't want to sound kind of cocky or like elitist, but there is a few in the class who, I don't know whether it's through sheer determination, but they shine. Mm-hmm. I feel cocky, put myself in the group, but I put the work in so I can safely
Pretty sure you said day one that you were gonna be the one who got the job, you're like, because I'm here every day, I've got the determination. And the rest of us were like, oh, okay, chill out, I just started, spent my money on this, you're telling me that I'm not going to be the one.
Yeah, it is what it is, bro. Life's a competition.
Yeah, it's good. It lit the fires, I think. It made people go, all right, I hear you. Yeah, I see what you put down. Am I picking it up? Damn right, I'm picking it up.
That guy's always early and he's always leaves late. I'm like, yeah, that's me. Because I want all that time and those... Because this is a finite resource.
Yeah.
We pay our fees and we get to come here for essentially 9 months. But it is finite. I mean, after this is finished, we can't come back here and do this.
We will not have the luxury of coming into these studios as much as we would like.
That's true, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you can come back and say hi to the tutors, which I've seen other students do.
Oh, I'm sure they'd be fine with it. But I mean, you are kind of weighing on their time and you're taking up the space of the resource for other students.
That's exactly it, man. So, the way I see it, you got to milk them for everything they're worth. Like big old radio dairy cows.
Big old radio dairy cows. Hello, Sheila, coming in for a milking. Well, what would you tell your 10-year-older self? So you're going to be 40 at this point, and this is you 30 now, telling your 10-year-older self.
A lot closer to 41 than I'd like to admit.
Mm-hmm.
What am I going to tell me from 10 years? Honestly, do what makes you happy. And don't be a meathead. Things about balance. Party some, work a lot. You know what I mean? Like that work-life balance. You need to keep that in check because sometimes you really go on the wrong side of the seesaw and you really chase that seesaw down. Yeah. They're a good time.
Yeah, you got to find your balance, man. That yin and yang, or yin and yang. But the weird thing is, I can almost hear our older selves just going, "Oh, shush! You've got no idea what I've been through." Just shutting down our childish ideas from 10 years in the past. We'll see.
Look how youthful we sounded.
Yeah, we're going to use these as voice clips 10 years in the future for our continuing and extremely popular podcast and yell at ourselves for having such stupid concepts 10 years ago.
Bloody magic, what? So yeah, that's it
Slaine.
about me, bro. That's me.
Slaine Marshall. Slaine the man.
Well, thank you for tuning in and listening to me ramble about me and also Leo ramble about me. This is quite good for the ego, I must admit.
I also try to talk about me a little bit in there too, as I do. I'll just try to squeeze that in.
Who are you, sorry? Anyway, look, like I said, thank you for tuning in and we'll see you next episode. Leo the Lion, Slaine the man.